Hello, I'm the Phantastic Phlix Phlicker, and you're about to watch one of my fantastic flicks. Oh, I do hope you enjoy it. Who am I kidding? Of course you will. Earthlings are curious creatures. No, really. They love to examine just about anything they can get their fleshy little brains on. For example, one scientist in Australia conducted an important study on the types of belly button lint. And a group of biologists in Canada and Scotland discovered that herring apparently communicate by farting. Yes, I know. Well, one of the oldest sciences that Earthlings ever came up with is astronomy, which is the study of all the stuff in outer space. Since the very beginnings, they've been fascinated, inspired, and even terrified by what seemed to be always over their heads. Now, like you, I ask, why? But unlike you, I already knew the answer. You see, without much effort, Earthlings noticed that the movement of the sun and moon affected things on Earth in powerful ways. The sun seemed to make the seasons change from summer to fall to winter to spring. And the moon affected the rising and falling of the ocean tides. Soon, they came to believe that things this powerful must be gods. The stars, on the other hand, seem to be fixed in place, like a giant picture scrolling across the sky. Sailors learned to use the fixed stars like a map to get them from one shore to another. To help them memorize this map, they invented the first tool in astronomy, star pictures or constellations. Across all cultures and civilizations, Earthlings imagine familiar images formed by the stars. One of the most recognizable constellations is the set of stars known today as Orion. Many ancient groups who never even met each other, such as the Greeks of Europe and the native people of Central America, saw the figure of a hunter. The Babylonians saw a great shepherd, and the Egyptians saw their god Horus. Other constellations seem to form crabs, fish, snakes, even lions, tigers, or bears. Go ahead, everyone together now. Oh my! Once Earthlings had a grasp on the position of the fixed stars, they noticed an unusual and very important phenomenon. There were some stars that didn't follow the rules and stay in their place. Out of the hundreds and hundreds of stars that they could see, there were 5 that wandered across the sky. These 5 wanderers moved in and out of the constellations, all at very different speeds. Humans everywhere concluded that since the only other objects that moved like this were gods, the sun and the moon, then these wanderers must be gods also. Different cultures gave these wandering stars different names, but it was the names given by the ancient Greeks and Romans that seemed to stick, and are generally used today. The Greek word for wanderer is planete, so these became known as planets, and the Romans gave the planets names based on how they behaved. The fastest moving planet they chose to name after the swift-footed messenger of the gods, Mercury. The brightest, shiniest one they honored with the name of their goddess of love and beauty, Venus. The planet that shone in the violent color of red they said must be Mars, their god of war. One planet seemed to move much slower than the other 3, so they believed it to be the father of the gods, Jupiter. And the 5th planet moved even slower, so they named it for the grandfather of the gods, Saturn. These celestial gods became a big part of human cultures. The Babylonians saw the number 7 as lucky and created a week of 7 days, naming each one after one of the gods. Now, Earthlings began to think that if the sun and moon were powerful enough to affect things on Earth, then the other 5 gods must be able to also. Soon, an entire way of seeing the world grew out of this. It was called astrology. Now, astronomy and astrology are 2 very different ideas. While astronomy is a science that studies everything outside of the Earth's atmosphere scientifically, astrology is a belief system that holds that the position of the planets affects human lives in a supernatural way. Besides the movement of the planets, other celestial objects and occurrences, such as eclipses and comets, could be seen as signs of good luck or great danger. In ancient China, it was believed that during a solar eclipse, the sun was under attack. Warriors would fire arrows to frighten the attacker away. And it always seemed to work. Of course, the eclipse would have ended on its own without the help of the archers. Over time, though, the Chinese and other cultures had studied the cycles of the sky carefully enough to be able to predict things like eclipses, and even some comets. Even though astronomy and astrology are 2 very different things, there is an important link. Without astrology, the belief system, there might never have been astronomy, the science. Astrology led humans to study the stars, planets, and other stuff in outer space with great care and energy, developing better methods and tools to do so. As ideas changed about what was real and what wasn't, much of what was learned for the sake of astrology became very important to the science of astronomy. Goodbye.